Do you know Blue Archive? Blue Archive is a gacha game about female high school students with guns in 3D chibi style. I really love Blue Archive. This game is genius. Sure, the gameplay itself is very simple, but it's just like every other gacha game that you can find. But this game does everything else masterfully. Okay, so the story of this game is all about us, the sensei of Chalet, solving the problem of Kiforos, an academy city, from simple problems to a large-scale military problem. In a way, we are like the commander, while also taking care of students. Now, the story writing of this game is really different from any other gacha games that I know. There is something about the writing that makes me hooked to the story. First of all, the jokes. In a story that you write, whether if it is a story about war, a mature story, a fun and happy story, or a dark story, there is always a fun moment between the characters in the story. The jokes, the funny scenes, the character dynamics, and the dialogue of this game feels natural. I don't know how to explain it, but I could not stop laughing because of the jokes and the dialogue of this game. This is very different experience from other gacha games or maybe games in general. Remember Problem Solver 68? We all love them. They are so silly, and Aru is my favorite loser girl. In Volume 1, we literally robbed a bank with Abydos students. I loved Aru's reaction there. Remember when we were searching for help for Hoshino? We went to Gehenna and kissed Yori's feet without hesitation. Remember Hanako? She's the boldest and the most sus character in the game. She just blatantly speaks anything from her mind. She just blurts out sex jokes. She's a gem in the third volume story. And this is why there is almost no character that I don't like in this game. Some people think that Blue Archive story is all about slice of life and slapstick comedy, but that is not true at all. Starting from volume 3 of the main story is where the game improved a lot in terms of story, cutscenes, and in battle cutscenes. It was quite mind blowing to me because of how the story is getting more and more interesting. And also I was confused as to how there is no one who say anything about the main story of this game. I'm not gonna explain the whole story. I just want to talk about a few things that I found interesting. Please correct me if there is something I missed or wrong. So the third volume is focusing on the Trinity School. Sensei is tasked to go to Trinity School and help the Make-up World Club because their grades are failing. Ever since the incident of Seiya, one of the Tea Party president, there is a rumor going around schools about a traitor among Trinity. And this Make-up World Club was made by the Tea Party to eliminate the traitor, not to fix their grades. And Trinity is going to sign the Eden Treaty soon, a peace treaty between the Trinity School and Gehenna School. You can imagine what happens if the traitor is targeting the Tea Party during this time. A big chaos will happen. Mika, yet another Tea Party president, suggested to involve Shale Sensei. an outsider to help them fix their grades, or at least that's what she said. This part alone is already the most intense story that I experienced in any gacha game. We can see how suspicious these students are. Hanako is actually really smart. She managed to ace her previous exam with perfect score, but somehow she got really low scores on her exam. It's as if she's doing it intentionally. It's true that a student can fail and decline in school. Maybe that person is struggling with the subjects, or maybe the previous exam or the previous year was easier, but her score had a very sharp decline, and she can be seen not doing her exam seriously. So she is suspicious. Koharu is a Justice Task Force member. She is not suspicious at all. But Nagisa, she is suspicious of her because she tried to calm down Hasumi, who once gets angry whenever Gehenna is mentioned. This one is baseless and there's no proof. And I like that because it shows that Nagisa is paranoid. She doesn't even trust Sensei himself. And I like it if a character has a flaw. And next, Hifumi, who is pretty much a normal girl, but she did went to black market, which is funny enough true because we rob a bank with her and Abydos students in volume 1. And the last one is Azusa. Obviously she is the traitor. Everyone should be able to see that a transfer student with a suspicious background. And on top of that, she is expert at military. I really love this part because of how intense it was. Everyone suspects and being skeptical of each other. Every side is hiding something. The exam itself was made impossible, and it gets even more intense once the real threat, Arius squad, bombed the Cathedral of Trinity. Lots of unrest and infighting between Trinity faction itself. The only thing I don't really understand about this volume of the story is the reason why Mika started this whole mess. Like all she said is that she hates Gehenna. There is no further explanation as to why she hates Gehenna, which became a meme in the community. I guess she is just racist. This is my favorite volume overall. It's currently the longest story and the most well crafted story in my opinion. So, moving on to the final episode and volume 4. The Chief Defense Kaya of the General Student Council and Kaiser PMC stage a coup so that they can control the General Student Council, the Sanctum Tower, and so that Kaya can become the acting president. And they successfully did this twice. There are a few things that I find interesting about this. First of all, even among the General Student Council, there is someone who is jealous and want power, and I like that. While the General Student Council itself is full of good guys, doesn't mean all of them has to be a good guy. This is how it is in real government and work environment. Second, they didn't make this conflict simple. They introduced the concept of rebate to us players, making the Kaiser PMC more like a mercenary group. The sensei himself really feels like a smart and cunning strategist, unlike the protagonists of other gacha games, where they are stupid and dense. I love that this game doesn't follow what other games do. Usually in other games, you'll be introduced to a new villain that is stronger than the previous villain, while the protagonist gain new power. That kind of story will escalate further and further until it gets ruined at some point, or until it needs to stop. That is not the case with Blue Archive. Everyone here, they have Halo. It makes them durable. Everyone here uses guns and technology. There are supernatural phenomena in Blue Archive, but even the monsters in this game are balanced. There is something else I noticed at this point, and what makes Blue Archive story different. The villains and the protagonist, Sensei himself. Among the villains, they don't actually get along. They are taking advantage of each other. Like for example, once the Kaiser PMC took control of the General Student Council, they immediately betrayed Kaya and imprisoned her even though she helped them to infiltrate the GSC, resulting in almost total control of Kivodos by Kaiser alone. In Gematria, Beatrice was killed because she summoned Chroma. Like, they just wipe her out with their secret weapon. This is very important because this is a big contrast with Sensei and his students. You know that we often joke around about the power of friendship trope, where the protagonist suddenly get a new power or power boost out of nowhere, and the protagonist is screaming at the villain that this is the power of our friendship or something like that. A lot of anime and I guess gacha games story that I know fall into this overused cliche. That is not the case with Blue Archive. It was established since the beginning that we have the shit team chest relic, and it does have a power and an AI inside it. But friendship in this game is a real form of friendship. It's teamwork. We work together with students. We gain their trust in the story because we help them solve their problem before and we never abandon any students, including villains like Sauri, for example. It really feels like we are a teacher and we are taking care of students. We listen to them, we give them advice, and in return, the students help us. I love this. The sensei character really feels matured compared to protagonists from other gacha games that I know. The final episode was really sad and touching. To be honest, I still have a lot of questions about the world where Shiroko terror comes from. Based on the brief flashbacks that we have seen, it seems like everyone died except for Shiroko herself. I kinda want to see more of that version of key photos. The game didn't show us any further. I want to see why that version of Sensei failed. Like, where did he go wrong? But he is truly a Giga Chad. It seems like the story itself is not finished. It's still updating. I saw a glimpse of the continuation of the Abydos story, so I'm looking forward to that. I forgot to mention that the Chibi 3D model is awesome in my opinion. It looks really good compared to the Chibi model of other gacha games. Sometimes Chibi characters can look really cheap, but the Blue Archive one is really good. And the last reason why I love Blue Archive is the music, the soundtrack of this game. Usually when I play a game, there is always a few musics that I don't like or I find forgettable in a game. But that is not the case with Blue Archive. I love every single Blue Archive music. The music in this game is well made. None of it sounds boring, which is insane. Music, in my opinion, is an integral part of a game. It's one of the big reasons why we can play a game for so long without getting bored, even if we have to grind for hours, or even if we have to read a massive wall of text during the story. The game itself is a light-hearted game in general, and the music really support and elevate the theme of this game. For example, there is a variety of silly musics. Each of these musics are made for certain occasion, like a student having an empty brain moment, or when they made some funny mistakes. Other games, other gacha games that I've seen usually only have one or two or few variation of musics. So there is little diversity and range of music, which means the game rely on good dialogue. Sometimes funny scenes in other games fall flat and boring if the dialogue is not done right. That is why Blue Archive humor feels natural to me because of the combination of music, sound effect, dialogues that support each other. That is just one example of Blue Archive musics. That is why even Blue Archive soundtrack is genius. I'm not expert on music. To be honest, I don't know about music. But still, I can say that the soundtrack, the music of this game is really well made. Alright, I guess that's it. Thank you all for listening to a new sensei's rambling about his passion on Blue Archive. See you later, folks.